So, I donated plasma. I donated plasma to help for a good cause. That's all. That's what it is. You know, don't look at me like, oh my God, Gator, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. Because I know for a fact that if I just recorded without me saying nothing about this, my comments would have blown up. I'm okay. I'm good. But no, I'm not good because look at this. Like, this looks, I can see the beauty. I can see the potential beauty. And I can see why people will come out here to experience all of this nature. But I don't know. I need to know what's out there. Point blank, period. Sup, though. Isn't there a volcano somewhere in California that's overdue to
One of the things that I really enjoy doing is traveling and exploring the outdoors.
Jesus Christ.
I've been to many national parks and hiking trails over the past few years.
Right.
I didn't really travel that much until about 3 years ago when I changed jobs. I have a lot more time to travel with the new job. Anyways, this story takes place a couple of years back when I was pretty new to traveling. I went to a national park that I was excited about. It wasn't all that popular, but it had some good hiking trails. I went there by myself and started hiking in the morning. There were so many trails in the park, and after I did one, I went to the local town. After hanging out there for a while, I got the itch to do some more hiking, so I went back later in the afternoon. The park was not too busy. It was large and spread out, so it depended on what trails and sections you went to. I went to a different spot to go hiking. There were all kinds of different terrain, some hills, mountains, as well as woods. What I didn't know was that this trail was much longer and more complex than the other one. I'm sure if I would have looked at a sign at the beginning, I would have seen that it was more challenging, but I don't recall observing anything like that. I pretty much just went on the trail and started.
No, there was probably like 20 signs, and you just bypassed all of them.
There really wasn't anybody else on the trail that I noticed. It was very quiet, and I was enjoying it to start out. Pretty soon, though, I was going farther and farther, and I realized that it was starting to get late. The sun would be setting in about 30 minutes. I went a little bit farther and then decided to head back. There were multiple areas where the trail went in different directions, sometimes even splitting 3 ways.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I had only seen just a couple of people the entire time, and they were all near the beginning. I tried going back, but soon was very confused even what direction I was going in. I blamed this on the terrain, because there were a lot of areas where you had to climb up or down. Rocks would be sort of used as stairs in some of the areas. So I was trying to find my way back for probably like 30 minutes before it started to really get dark out. At that point, I realized that I wasn't making much progress. I took out my phone, but had no signal. I never really had good signal the entire time that I was at the park. I turned off my phone and then turned it on again, but that didn't do anything. So as I was walking back in what I thought might be the right way, I soon heard something. It sounded like somebody else was walking on the trail behind me. I turned around and looked to see a man there walking behind me. I stopped and waited for him to catch up. He was wearing black pants and a black shirt and had longer dark brown hair, but he was also wearing a hat and sunglasses. I wasn't really sure exactly where he had come from, but I was glad that he was here. I said hi to him, and he said hi back to me. I told him that I wasn't sure of the way out, and he said right away that he knew it. The man told me that he had hiked this trail many times before, and he knew the entire thing like the back of his hand. I described to him where I had parked, and he told me that he...
I can't believe you talking to this cluck ass for as long as you are, and you're feeding into all his bullshit. That's insane. That's insane.
Lead me there. I felt much better hearing that, and the man told me to follow him. Then we both started hiking back. During this time, he didn't really say anything to me, and he sort of went fast. I didn't say much back to him either. I assumed that he was going fast because it was getting darker and darker out. We hiked for a good 20 minutes, and that's
It's
when
not suspicious that he's wearing all black with shades on? Alright.
First questioning him, because even though I got lost myself, and clearly I'm not the best with directions, I just sensed that we were going the wrong way.
You think?
One of the turns that he made, I was sure was wrong, but I didn't say anything, because who was I to criticize? I got myself lost. Maybe 10 more minutes went by, and it seemed like we were only going deeper in. We passed by places that I was 100% sure I had never been to. I was hoping that maybe it was some kind of a shortcut. Possibly any second we would turn out right near the entrance to the path, but that wasn't happening. I finally asked him how much farther it would be. He claimed that it was not that much farther at all, and said for me to keep following him. After maybe 5 more minutes and still nothing, I wasn't sure if he was clueless or leading me the wrong way. We kept going, and I saw that we were headed for a dense woods. Then he said, "It's right over here." I knew this wasn't it. There was no parking lot in sight, and the terrain was nothing like where I had entered. I said that it didn't look like where I had gone in, and I asked him if there were multiple connecting parking lots. Maybe he got it confused for another one. The guy just said no, and that was it. He was still walking in front of me. At that point, he started to climb down this really steep area of rocks. I wanted to just get away from him. As soon as he had made it down, and I was about to go down, I just turned and ran.
Thank you.
I went the complete opposite direction and started sprinting down the trail away from him. When I first started running away, I heard him climbing back up the rocks. It would give me a pretty decent head start on him though. I had no plan at all. I was just winging it. I just felt in danger, like the guy was leading me into the middle of the woods. After running for maybe 50 feet, I went through some really tall grass and bushes where I would be sort of hidden. I just kept going through them and eventually came out to a connecting trail. Soon, I no longer heard the guy behind me anymore. Then I slowed down. I felt better, but it was still dark out and I was still lost. I walked at a quick pace, trying to go more in the direction that I thought was correct. I walked for probably another 20 minutes. Soon, I heard somebody walking up ahead again. I saw the person quickly and realized that it was a park ranger. I approached him and asked him...
Hold on now. You in the damn... You out and about in the forest, in nature. Hold on now. How you not know this is a real park ranger? How you know this not a cluck ass? How you not know that the real park ranger got beat the hell up and then somebody stole their clothes and acting like, come on now, like, don't just automatically just assume that person is real, like.
To get out. Of course, he did, and I followed him. The ranger was very nice, and I told him about the guy that I had encountered. He seemed concerned about it, and said that the guy was not leading me near any exit at all. He radioed in and reported it, and after we made it back to the parking lot, he said he would investigate. After that, I left. For the rest of my trip, and ever since then, I've been much more careful.
You should have been careful in the first place, you ass. Cluck.
A couple of years ago, I went to the Grand Canyon during the summertime. I went there on a road trip.
Bro, I want to go to the Grand Canyon, but then I don't, because it's like, I do because of the visuals, but then I don't because it's like, it's the Grand Canyon. That shit big as hell and it's deep as hell. And I don't know if they got borders along the whole Grand Canyon. And I don't know if the borders are strong enough. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't trust it. I don't. And let a cluck ass be there with me. Like, what if it's like a group, like a tourist group thing, and we visiting the Grand Canyon? Let it be a cluck ass in the group. I promise you. I promise you I'm not going. Or I'll let that person go in front of me and I be in the back of the line. Shit.
My best friend, Amanda. I had never been to the Grand Canyon before, but she had been there once when she was younger. We drove on this one road for the longest time that led to the park. Once we entered, we followed another road into one of the main parking lots. I was surprised at how big the park was, and there are campsites on it and several trails. When we got there, there were quite a few other people. We went down one trail to see the actual canyon. There are walking trails going alongside of it, and then many different lookouts.
Jeez, I've only seen videos and pictures of the Grand Canyon, but like anybody that has ever been to the Grand Canyon, does picture and video does it do it justice of just how big the Grand Canyon is? Probably not, because like every time I see pictures, I get like I'm just my mind is blown. And I can only imagine just seeing that shit in person. Like, it's not like how, man. Gee. Hold on now. See, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know when this video was taken. Or I don't know when this video was not video. I don't know when this picture was taken of the Grand Canyon. But are these the borders? Move. Are these the borders? These borders ain't nothing. There's a small child right there. These borders ain't shit. If it's like this all around the Grand Canyon, that ain't nothing. Anybody can literally, some dumbass, Clark ass, could be like, oh, let me just go through these. You might as well not even have borders up if it's gonna look like this. What the hell?
Yes. We walked along it and stopped at several of those lookout spots, many of which were pretty crowded. At probably the second one, I remember I got approached by this one guy.
Oh no.
He was a man that was sort of big, with dark hair, and he said hi to me. He told me that his name was Joe. Then he asked me and Amanda if we would be interested in going on a tour, and said that he drove a guided tour. I wasn't and said no thanks. Then he asked me if I was sure, and I said yes. After that, he walked away. We took a bunch of pictures and stuff and then moved along. Probably about 15 minutes later, I would say, we were at another overlook area. There were other people here as well, but not quite as many. I noticed the same guy.
You gotta be crazy. I just thought about this. You gotta be crazy as hell to pick a fight with somebody at the Grand Canyon. And like, I'm crazy. I don't know how to fight, but I'm crazy. You know, it may look like I know how to fight, but I don't. I don't know how to fight. But like, if you was to really like start some shit with me, don't do that at the Grand Canyon. Cause you come running at me, all I want to do is you gonna run at me, and I'm gonna be like, yeet.
Joe, he was walking over. Then he approached us again. This time, he said that he forgot to mention that the tour was free because somebody else had canceled. He asked once more if we wanted to go.
No.
I thought about it for a second, but still didn't want to go, and said no to him. He asked if we were sure once more, and we said yes. Then he walked away again. It seemed a little bit strange. He wasn't going around and asking anybody else, just us. He walked away and back onto a path, and Amanda and I stayed in the lookout spot for a couple more minutes. After that, we kept walking along the canyon and looking out at different viewpoints. I remember that sometime later, we stopped at a spot and saw Joe yet again, a little ways away. I was afraid that he was going to approach us once more, but he didn't. He was with another guy, and they were just kind of standing around. Amanda and I then walked in another direction. There were a few paths that went through some nearby areas, and not as many people were on them. We walked through a couple of the paths. I remember about halfway through one of the trails that we went on, I saw Joe again. He was walking a ways behind us. That's when I started to really get creeped out by him. Still, it didn't seem like too big of a deal, because there were some other people around, and the paths were not super wooded or anything. We later went back to the canyon again and didn't see him. Then we finished up at the gift shop, and each of us got some souvenirs. In the gift shop, guess who I saw again? Joe. and he was with his friend. He did not approach us, but it was just odd to see him there. Were they following us? I thought they had tours.
Them not approaching you, but at the same time, them always being around you is like, it's still equally terrifying. Because just because you don't approach me, but if I always see you for some odd reason, I got somebody getting clucked up.
To give, and they clearly were not. By the time we got our souvenirs, it was starting to get late and the sun was setting. We decided to drive back because our hotel was over an hour away. We went back to my car in what I assume is the main parking lot because it was pretty large. When we were getting to my car, I saw the two guys. They were a long ways away and just entering the parking lot. I kept an eye on them because I was suspicious. I noticed them look over at us, and then they went to an SUV, which was sort of old looking, and parked on the other side of the lot. Is that what they were supposed to be giving tours in? I wasn't really buying the tour story at all, and was glad that we didn't say yes to them. We got inside of my car and then started to leave. But as we were driving down the road to go out of the park, the SUV that the guys were driving went behind us. Now, if my memory is correct, there's really just one main highway that leads to and from the Grand Canyon, and there isn't a whole lot on it for like an hour. But just outside of the park, there are a few restaurants and gas stations. We decided to get some gas because my car's tank was a little low. And
these like little convenience stores and gas stations and like little restaurants that's right outside of Grand Canyon, they making bank.
Know where the next opportunity to fill up would be. As we pulled into the gas station, the guys pulled in behind us. Now we were really concerned. I started filling my car with gas, and the SUV parked in a spot on the side. Nobody got out. After I was done fueling, Amanda and I went inside the store. We were going to get some snacks. The gas station was pretty large inside, and we were looking through stuff when we noticed the same two guys come inside. We tried avoiding them, and they didn't seem to be trying to approach us or anything. But I still knew that it wasn't a coincidence that they were here. We got a few things and then left the store. When we did, we noticed the guys leaving right behind us.
Yo, come on with it. Come on with it, bro. Like, God damn. I can't. It's insane. It's insane. Oh, man. At some point, you just gotta come face to face. At some point, you just either gotta beat somebody ass, beat their ass, or haul ass, or both. Because all of this, like, hide and seek, all of this, like playing around these games and shit, I'm not with it. I'm not with it, and I don't got time for it. So, I'm either beating your ass, or I'm hauling ass, or both of them. Which one? You got 3 options, player. Because if I leave again and I go somewhere and I stop and I see your ass, it's racks.
And quickly got to the car and went inside. The guys went back to their SUV. Then I left, and unfortunately, they followed right after us. We both went onto the main highway, leaving the Grand Canyon. There were not really any exits, but I tried slowing down, speeding up, and changing lanes. Whatever I did, the SUV remained right behind me. We were thinking of what to do. After a while, we got the idea to drive to a police station. Unfortunately, there wasn't one for a while. Over the next few minutes, things remained the same. We drove until we were finally off the highway, and then had directions to the nearest police station. We drove there, and luckily, the SUV did not follow us in. After that, we reported what happened and gave a description of the guys. However, we did not get a license plate number of their SUV. After that, we were able to make it back to our hotel all right. I'm really glad that we got away from those guys.
Cluck y'all. Cluck y'all. I just want to let y'all know that first and foremost, with my utmost respects.
Several years ago,
I was like, for like a half a second, or even like half of a second, I was like, who the hell are those people on the mountain? Oh shit! I forgot that's a real thing. Oh my god! I was like, how the fuck? How did they get up there?
Traveling for work by myself. I was on a bit of a road trip, which went through several different states. On the way back home, I was passing through some of South Dakota, where I had never been to before. I knew Mount Rushmore was there, so I decided to go a little out of the ways to see it. I followed the directions to the park, and I remembered that I got there sometime in the afternoon. It was a little bit later, but I didn't have a lot of control over that. There was enough daylight that I should still get to see it. The park has a few different parking lots, and some are on different levels. I went to one lot that was on the top, and there was a quiet road near it with some trees on the other side. There were a decent amount of other cars in the parking lot when I got there, but it wasn't packed. After parking, I got out and walked over to the park. It wasn't that far of a walk or anything. I soon was able to see the mountain, and most of the other people were over there as well. I stayed there for a while, just looking at the view and taking pictures. Many people started to head out not long after I got there. Before I knew it, I was one of the only people left. The sun was setting, and then I decided to go back and hit the road. I left the park and walked back out to the parking lot where my car was. I remember that when I was walking over to the parking lot, I didn't see anybody else around. I had seen some other people going in one of the parking lots on the other side. My car was one of probably less than 10 that were still there. As I was walking, something caught my eye, and I also heard a noise. It was coming from across the quiet road and just inside the woods. I looked over to barely see a tree branch moving, but I did not see anything else. I thought that it might be some kind of animal. There are a lot of cool wild animals in that area, so I stopped and kept looking. I didn't see anything until soon I saw a man step out. I thought this was weird, but it was even more weird that the man started walking towards me, and he was moving pretty fast. I walked faster and soon made it to my car. When I was unlocking it and getting inside, I noticed that the man was now sprinting in my direction. That made me go in the car even faster. When I did, I immediately started the engine and began driving away. The man did not reach my car. I looked around to try to see him, and just barely noticed him going out of sight of the parking lot a ways away. I drove around to the exit, and then went on one of the quiet roads. There were some roads that went sort of through the woods leading out of the park.
Big ass
You had to go pretty slow on them, and they were kind of winding. I drove on it, and about halfway to the park exit, I saw the guy coming out of the woods. He must have ran there. He walked right into the middle of the street. When I saw him, I had to slow down. However, I was...
You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to slow down. You did not. You didn't. I would have not slowed down. I would have just kept going. And in fact, some say I would have drove 20 miles faster. Just say I'm just saying, like, if I'm driving and you just want to pop out of nowhere, don't be mad at me if you get ran over.
Go around him, and he just stared at me. Then I got past him and soon left the park. After that, I called and reported him for his strange behavior. I'm not sure who that guy was or what he was doing, but it was very weird.
You calling about him is so, that is so, like, what is it called? Irrelevant? Or that doesn't matter if you call the police or anybody to let him know about the person that you almost hit. By the time they come to the spot, he gonna be long gone.
This story takes place when I went to Yellowstone National Park with some friends.
Yeah, isn't this the park? Isn't this the park that has like that volcano that's literally overdue into erupt at any point? Is that the same? Hey, I got a question. So the movie 2012, it's a disaster movie, but I think I haven't seen it in a long time, but I think it dealt with Yellowstone National Park with, and it was talking about the volcano is long overdue to erupt, and then it erupted. But when it erupted, people on the East Coast can feel it. That's not true. All right? That's just movie shit. That's a long ass distance. Cause I promise you, if that volcano in Yellowstone Park was to erupt and people could feel it on the East Coast, that would mean that everybody in California is dead. Yeah. They're dead. That means that so many people would have died from that. And when you say feel it on the East Coast, do you mean like a little rumble? Dude, that'd be crazy as hell.
Obviously, the park is massive, and there are hiking trails that you can go on. That's what my group was going to be doing on the day of this story. We spent a total of 3 days in the area, and this was the final day. There were 7 of us total, so a decent number of people. We started hiking on one of the trails. I don't recall exactly which one it was, but it went through a lot of woods and by some streams and things like that. It was one of the best trails that I've ever been on, and I was really enjoying it. My group soon got really split up though. Everybody was kind of going at their own pace. Some people would stay back and look at something while others kept on walking.
No.
I was one of the people that got caught in the back. For a while, it was just me and 2 other people, with the others out of sight. We didn't think too much of it though. Then I stopped at a stream and thought that the others were also stopping. I was looking at something, but I soon realized that they didn't stop and it just kept on walking.
Wow.
Now I was all by myself in the back. Still, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Oh yeah?
Because I thought I could just catch right back up to them. I started walking on the path again and walked at a fast pace so I would catch up.
They probably ditched your ass. They probably knew that you kept stopping and going. And they probably saw your ass stop one good time and then hauled ass away from you.
After the stream, the trail went through a sort of dense woods. It was not that long into that part that suddenly I heard a noise up ahead. I wasn't sure what it was, but then a woman emerged from the woods. I was confused by this because I didn't recognize her. She walked out kind of in front of me and then asked me if I could help her.
The hell you come from?
I asked what was going on, and she said that...
No, my immediate reaction would be like, oh shit! The hell you come from? I'm not asking questions. Like, I'm not asking what, like, I'm not helping you out. I might just yell because I'm scared and then haul it. And then haul it. I'm not about to be like, oh my God, like, do you need help? What's going on? Like, what's your name? Like, no, I'm not asking all that. Like, we in the woods, goddammit. The hell you doing out here?
Friend needed some help. Then she told me to follow her and started walking back into the woods.
You got it.
There was a very small trail leading into the woods that did not look like any kind of a real trail.
Right.
It was either an animal trail or just caused by the woman walking back there. I didn't know what the situation was of her friend needing help, but I followed her into the woods. It was pretty thick in there, and we were going over rocks and tall grass and stuff.
I don't know if it's just like because I'm a guy or if it's just me personally. But when he said it's pretty thick in there, I was like, in my head, I was like, pause.
Visibility was not the greatest. I kept following her farther and farther into the woods.
God.
This went on for probably close to 5 minutes. I really couldn't believe how far back we were going. It made me wonder why she was so far back here in the first place. Then, finally, we came to this little clearing. The woman entered it, and I was about to, but what I saw were 2 large men just standing around. They were each wearing the old white hockey goalie masks, the really creepy looking ones. That was enough to make me instantly turn around and start running back. There was no friend needing help or anything there, just two men in masks. I didn't even think about it and was just running and getting hit with tree branches left and right. I heard somebody start to run after me. This caused me to go even faster. I'm not sure who was chasing me, if it was just one of them or all three of them. Nobody said anything, but we were just running for a while. I didn't stop, and luckily I was in pretty good shape and ran daily. I was able to not have to stop until I got back to the regular trail. By that point, I didn't really hear anybody running after me, and when I made it back to the trail, I went in the direction that my friends had gone. Just moments later, I saw one of my friends coming back in my direction. She had been looking for me and asked me what was going on. I told her to keep moving, and we both jogged for a while. When I was sure that we were not being chased or anything, I slowed down and told her the whole story. We decided to report it to park rangers, but the phone signal was going in and out, and it took a while before we could. We later caught up with the rest of the group, and I didn't let them out of my sight after that. For the rest of my time at Yellowstone, I didn't see those people, and I don't know exactly what was going on there. I'm hoping that it was nothing that bad, but I don't have an explanation for what it really was.
Cluck you. Cluck you. If you would have stayed with the group, none of that shit would have happened. You ass.
This happened several months ago. I was at a national park that I had gone to by myself. I enjoy hiking as a hobby, and I don't live that far away from this park.
You enjoy hockey. You enjoy hiking as a hobby? That's a cluck shit. There's so many other hobbies you can do that's not cluck. You could draw, that's a hobby. You know? You could act, that's a hobby. You know? You could play tennis, that's a hobby. You can work out, that's a hobby. Like, you could roller skate, that's not like, nah, you want to hike.
So I went there and hiked on some of the many trails that they have. I ended up getting over 30,000 steps total that day.
Jesus
and by the
Christ.
time I was done and heading back, I was pretty tired. The trail that I hiked on connected to a parking lot that was usually pretty quiet. It was surrounded by mostly woods, and when I got back to it, the sun was setting. I went back to my car and got inside. At the time that I did, my car was the only one in the entire parking lot. When I got inside of my car, I went on my phone. I was texting back with some friends because I hadn't gone on my phone for most of the day. I should have left right away, but I chose not to. I was just kind of relaxing on my phone for a few minutes. I was looking down at my screen and not to my surroundings. Out of nowhere, I heard a knocking coming from my passenger side window. I looked over and saw nothing. I was very confused and also creeped out.
What?
I kept looking, but nobody was there. Then I looked around the entire parking lot. It was not very well lit at all, and it was dark out now, but I still saw nothing. Then I sat up and leaned over to look out of my passenger's window. When I did, just barely, I saw someone was crouched down. Whoever it was right up against my passenger's side door. Then they tried opening the door. I heard the door handle being grabbed, but
Then I just drove the hell off and crushed all their toes.
thankfully it was locked. When that happened, I immediately put my car into drive. Then I hit the gas pedal and started driving away. When I did, the person stood up. I could see that it was a man, but beyond that, I couldn't tell anything about him. He ran alongside my car for a few seconds, still touching it and trying to keep up. Then I went too fast and he stopped. I saw him in my rear view mirror, standing in the middle of the parking lot. I left and went back out onto the road. Once I was there, I dialed 911 and reported the guy. After that, I was able to make it back home okay. Since then, I haven't been back to that park. I don't know who that guy was or what he was doing. It was very bizarre. I'm hoping that nothing like that ever happens again, though.
You say you never went back to that park? Let's hope we don't go to any other parks after that. And let's hope and pray that you change your life around. You know, let's hope and pray that you didn't turn out as a cluck ass. Can we do that? Let's take a moment of silence. Let's pray. Let's pray that that person changed their life around and that they're not a cluck ass. Let's pray about it. Okay, we done. Jesus Christ. Like I said, man, like let's go back to Grand Canyon. Like, man, I can't. I want to go to Grand Canyon, but like if it looks like this, I think the only way I go to Grand Canyon is if it's like me and baby girl and somebody that I know or people that I trust. Because like, what if you go with a group of people, y'all tours, y'all go to the Grand Canyon and some dumbass, some cluckhead wants to start a fight. Look at this, man. Look at this. Look at this damn barrier. Like, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. I don't know. Granted, I don't know when this picture was taken, but like, if it still looks like this, that's insane. That is actually insane. This, yeah, I think, yeah, Yellowstone National Park. All of that, this story right here could have been avoided if you would have just stayed with your group. But you wanted to drift off and stay behind. You could have at least communicated with somebody, but no, you didn't. And because of that, you almost got clucked in the ass. Keep it cool, keep it classy. And I love you. Stay happy, my family.